Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of GameSpot of Thrones. I'm Lucy, joined by Dave.
Hello.
And Tam.
Hi.
So, quick one before we get into the meat of this week's episode, which was Eastwatch. We have a competition running at the moment. If you want to win this Jon Snow Funko Pop that's on your screen right now, make sure you subscribe to the GameSpot Universe YouTube channel and hit the link in the description box below. Sorry that this is only for people in the US at the moment, but we are going to be opening up to more competitions later on down the line. So make sure you hit the link and enter. But first of all, let's get into this week's episode. If you haven't seen Eastwatch, then turn away now. But my God, there was a ton of stuff in there that we have to go over with a fine-tooth comb. So let's get started.
All right, so after much stressing, speculating on whether Jaime was going to make it out of the drink, all of that was put to bed instantly. Just Bronn just dragging him out like, yep, you're fine. No problems
Bronn
there.
is henchman.
We actually have a very good article on GameSpot.com right now by Mike Rougeau about what he actually spoke to an armorer.
A real-life armorer.
Who gave Jaime's chances with all that leather and metal and gold hand. So if you haven't read that, we'll link it below.
Yeah, but needless
Doesn't
to say,
matter.
yeah,
Plot armor.
a real-life armorer was proven wrong by fiction. So
Is it proven wrong then?
So Bronn drags him out, and he says a great line, which I won't repeat because it's got
You can repeat, we'll just
swear
bleep
in
it.
it. Listen to me,
That's how I start all my sentences. To be
Listen to me.
until I get what's owed. Nothing is going to kill you, which is nice. It kind of makes you feel like Bronn's going to be sticking around for a little while.
Yeah,
But
until
then
he says.
immediately he follows up by talking about the dragons, and because in that moment, Jaime realizes the gravity of the situation that they're facing. Not just him and what just happened, but Cersei and the Lannister war. He's realized that was the destruction caused by one dragon. Girl's got 3. He's like, God damn, I can't deal with 3. We had that stupid ballista thing and it did nothing. And now we have to deal with 3 of them. So he's like, damn, I got to get back to Cersei. And Bronn effectively says, I am not going to be fighting any dragons. When those dragons come to King's Landing and start spitting hot fire, I am not going to be here.
Doesn't matter what else tries to kill you.
Just not dragons.
Just not a dragon, all
No.
right? That's where I draw the line.
Yeah, so
It's in his contract.
now we have, on the other hand, we could have some foreshadowing of Bronn maybe biting it soon, which is going to be
Bronn.
very sad. So Jaime's in a situation now where he firmly believes the war is unwinnable. We have a comment here, off topic.
Oh.
Which is going to segue nicely into something that happens next.
I really enjoyed this
Off
one.
topic from Mike Hawk on YouTube, who says, has anybody else noticed how those giant freaking shoulders on Dickon? We did
Dickon is
Yeah,
notice.
look at the
henchman.
shoulders on that guy.
Like if the wall in the north needs some reinforcement, just put Dickon
Put Dickon
in there.
there, just like, he looks like a Goomba from the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Like tiny head, massive shoulders. I just want to see him swaying and lift now. Right, so then we see Tyrion surveying kind of the aftermath of the battle, and we have him getting a first-hand look at the destruction that Daenerys is capable of with her dragons. And it's kind of we've had a few of these in the lead-up, but it's an indication that he's kind of thinking, did I back the right horse here? Like he's
back the
like,
right dragon.
oh, did I back the right dragon? So then it shows Dany with her dragon just looming above everyone, and all the opposing troops kind of lined up. And she gives a speech which is kind of conflicting and a bit worrying. So it's quite contradictory as well. So she's like, I'm not here to, kill or murder, as Cersei said. I'm actually here, to free you guys and all this business. She talks about destroying the wheel.
Yeah, but
Which
that's not
is
the first time we've
that's
heard her
not-
talk about it. She likes the wheel imagery.
She's really obsessed with this wheel. This damn wheel. So like when she was talking to Tyrion around the time she named him Hand, she named all the houses and called them spokes on the wheel, and said she's not going to try and stop the wheel. She's going to destroy that wheel. And now, given current situations, a lot of that work has been done. Like a lot of those families that she mentioned, name-checked, are now either gone or on their last legs, which is
Tyrell?
quite interesting.
Baratheon.
Yeah, exactly. But then she kind of asks everyone to bend the knee. And
Ask is a word for
Ask
it.
I'm
is
here
a-
to be nice, okay?
Yeah,
I'm going to ask you nicely.
look.
Bend the knee. Or I will kill you.
yeah, she's like, I won't murder you, bend the knee, or I'll murder you. Which is kind of like, it creates this conflict between the Daenerys that we had and the Daenerys that we have now. It's quite different from the way she approached winning favor when she wasn't in Westeros. While she was out there, she would appeal to their, empathy and empathize with the people that she was trying to free and win them over by smooth talking. But now she's doing it in a way that's very similar to Cersei. If you cast your mind back when Grey Worm was storming Casterly Rock, I think it was Tyrion that said, like, the reason that the Unsullied are so powerful is because they fight for the person who gave them freedom. And, they fight for that freedom. And the army that they're facing runs on fear, which is why they're weak. And now Daenerys is creating an army that runs on fear, which some might argue makes her army weak, which is an interesting switch. There's kind of like a parallel between what she is now and what Cersei is, and they're kind of coming closer and closer together. So then, in the next bit, we have a very sad moment where she makes an example of two people, one of which I don't really care about, Randall Tarly. Who cares? He can go. He's kind of served it. Yeah, he was mean and he served his purpose. He's lost in battle, so he's pretty much useless to the Lannisters now. But unfortunately, as he's about to be offered up to the Drogon, his son, our boy Dickon, pipes up.
R.I.P. Dickon.
He's like, if you're going to take him, you might as well take me too, because, he's my dad. And, like...
He's my dad.
As Tyrion points out, you're the last in the line, technically.
Sam's still there. He's off doing his own thing. But he's like, why are you throwing your life away? And he doesn't come up with a very good answer to that. But
I might as well.
Yeah, he's like, whatever, innit? My shoulders can bear this burden. He's like, I'm ready.
It's quite interesting that Sam stole Heartsbane, right? Because... now that his brother and father are dead, that would have been passed to him anyway. So he sort of like skipped a few steps there. He was just like, I'm just going to take this just in case.
Yeah.
In case stuff goes down.
And after that, we have another indication of Tyrion maybe rethinking, second-guessing Daenerys, because he desperately pleads with her to try and spare these guys and kind of, he says maybe Randall can be sent to the Wall. She's like, no. And he's like, you're not my queen. I won't go. You can't send me anywhere.
It's cold as fuck up there. I'm not going.
You're not my real mom.
And then he tries to get Dickon put in a cell for a bit, or just kind of some other punishment.
Is any cell big enough?
Yeah, she has absolutely no cell is big enough. She has none of it. And unfortunately, they both are burned alive.
Up the Dickon.
Rest in peace.
I think it was smart, though. Because I get the vibe that she knew that she only had to kill 2 to get the rest of them to bend the knee.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like classic strats, kill the leader,
right? It's a good
kill
strategy,
the alpha.
But it speaks to the kind of change in Daenerys' strategy, which is kind of worrying. This is Mad King strats.
I like him. A lot happened in King's Landing this week. It was very busy. Jaime turns up, and the first thing you see him do is bump into Maester Qyburn, creeping in the shadows. We get a lot of Maester Qyburn having a bit of a creep this week.
He doesn't really say much. He's just lurking.
But you get a real sense of like how much he's whispering in Cersei's ear, because he's always knocking about
always
with the Queen.
Hiding in the folds between the curtains. Just like
come out the door. Oh, I just had a chat with the Queen. But I'd like to point out, in Jaime's return, Cersei knows what's happened. It was just outside bloody King's Landing, and not once did she say, "Are you all right, by the way?"
Oh yeah.
How are you doing, love? You feeling okay? I know, like a dragon attacked. Not once does she ask how he is. And I don't know if that's just because she's a bitch, she realizes she's lost her man, or it's just another nod at her being like a self-centered, unempathetic psychopath.
I think 1 and 3, she's a bitch, and she's
I think it's the latter, because when Jaime tells her about Olenna, she is not angry that that she was wrong about Tyrion. She's not angry about the death. She's not hurt of the memory coming back. She's angry that she didn't get to torture her, and the whole torture thing is something that we're seeing more of, and I think that's where Joffrey got the whole torture lust. Like we what's her name, the Bell lady.
Septa Unella.
She's still down there.
She's probably done by now.
Oh no, because Cersei made a point to keep her alive. Ilaria's still down there watching her daughter rot. She just wanted to add one more collection to her cell. She's got a real thing for torture, and it's just it's really driving home that psychopathic part of her.
Incredible case of selective hearing as well, by the way. Like, you can see her filtering out the information just to like create this new course of events for herself, just to be like, damn, I wish I could have killed her. Just not hear the rest of it.
It's really got to the point where it's not enough for her enemies to lose or die. She has to be part of their suffering, which is it's just getting darker. Thankfully, one of the more sensible Lannisters turns up.
Hey.
Eventually, we get to see
Sir Pounce Lannister.
No, he's gone. He's definitely gone by now.
Damn.
He's technically a Baratheon.
Oh yeah, he's a Baratheon.
Yeah, get your cat houses right, man.
Sorry, dude.
So Tyrion turns up. Bronn organises a meeting under the guise of training. You mentioned before, like, the nods to him being dispatched. And Jaime says, maybe this is the day that I'll accidentally kill you. Stop teasing that Bronn's going to die, all right?
Don't like it one
Bronn's
bit.
not allowed to die.
Unless it leaves him open for a Robson and Jerome reunion.
Reunion.
I think the only way Bronn's going to die is if they're forced to do a scene with Cersei and the actors actually kill each other.
Yeah.
We haven't had a massive fan favorite go since Jon Snow. So
And then
I
when he
think,
came back...
Olenna Tyrell. What are you
I
talking
mean,
about?
like, no one's starting petitions to bring Olenna Tyrell back, though.
I am. Have you not read my petition on change.org?
Proven to be a success, change.org. But
Jaime
I
doesn't
think,
even thank him after he dragged his sorry ass out
I
to
think
sea
Bronn
either.
might be
Don't say that.
due.
Don't say
It's
that.
sad, but it's true.
We get a sense of the pain that Jaime feels for Tyrion's return. Like, he's still very aware that they killed his dad. He's like, oh, okay, you didn't kill our son, but at the same time, you did murder our dad while he was pooping.
While he was pooping, yeah.
While he was pooping. That's.
I was waiting
the
for
bullet
Tyrion
point
to
to
go
that.
like, he banged my girlfriend.
He did so much shit. Like,
Yeah.
only Jaime misses Tywin. Tywin was an
But then
asshole.
even Tywin wasn't that nice to Jaime.
No.
He wasn't that nice to any of his kids.
Maybe Jaime just wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
Sour that he missed the
A
chance.
bit eatable. No, that's mother, innit?
Yeah.
yeah.
Get your Greek stuff right.
Get my Freud right.
One of the things that I noticed in this is when Tyrion's driving home the point that they're going to lose. Tyrion's standing in front of the dragon skull that
Balerion the Dread.
that Cersei was using as target practice, and he glances over that and he's like, it really gets a sense of, he sees that and he's remembering the battle he just fought. I've not really seen Jaime so like stunned and like affected by anything.
Yeah.
Even when he was stuck in cells, getting his hand chopped off, when he was fighting a bear, he still looked like he had it
Yeah.
together. And now we see him like staring into the middle distance and being like absent of mind.
He always had pride and confidence in the Lannister name. And now, given everything that's happened between his dad dying, his brother being sent away,
Coming back to see the set blow up.
Yeah.
He's shook, man.
His sister killing everyone. That's kind of faith in the Lannister name and the house is shaken a bit.
Yeah.
And I think now he's starting to have trouble kind of pushing out all the things that are, he's facing, their family is facing. So that's why I feel
suppose
like
seeing his brother turn up as well is just like, he's had a really bad day.
Yeah.
Really bad day. But Cersei even knew about Tyrion turning up. Just
got
goes to
little
show,
spiders.
all those spiders and all that whispering that Qyburn does, his reach is beyond anything we have thought. But we get another hint of why the Maester keeps turning up, checking on her because she's up the duff again. She's preggers.
She is one fertile lady.
Olenna was obviously wrong about her going through the change pretty soon because she's gonna pop out another sprog, apparently.
Or is she?
I've seen this trap before.
Well, that's the thing. We've
trust that
talked
girl.
in the previous series about Maggie the Frog's prediction.
Yes.
And the prediction was 3 children, which either means, like, it seems they're pretty set on keeping that prediction alive. It's been bang on so far,
Yep.
but I think that either she's lying to keep Jaime under the thumb and under control, or something's going to happen to her or the child
baby.
during pregnancy. Because we've seen that happen before in the Red Wedding. So it's not...
It might not be that, a bit sword to the belly, but
No.
it might be something.
But like, I part of me thinks she's just lying to
Yeah.
keep Jaime.
I wouldn't put anything past her at this point.
No. Going forward, okay, I'm going to recommend that nobody watch the title sequence anymore.
Oh, we had a
I
bit
know
of a
it sucks.
moment.
Because the title sequence is very cool,
We
but
can
don't
sing
watch it no
along.
more.
Yeah. They do a nice pan to Eastwatch as well this time. They
Yeah.
added
Yeah,
that.
it looks great.
But we were all
But
distracted.
if you could just do a version without the names in it, because you spoiled a character reveal in your own title sequence, Game of Thrones.
So apparently that's probably because of like actors union
Yeah.
stuff that they have to be credited for whatever they're in,
Right.
and like that's why some of them will get top billing and some.
Is it not enough that it could be at the end credits?
We
No.
recommend closing your eyes and just singing.
Yeah.
I
along,
recommend
like,
just
"Ba,
humming.
ba."
Or like holding like your hand over the lower half of the screen. Just,
Well,
like,
yeah,
sing
it
the
Yeah,
was-
no,
song.
but it
top-
moves
top
around.
right,
Yeah,
right.
it's top
Can't
right.
even do that then. Just
Rough.
stare at your phone and hum along because
Yeah.
it spoiled Gendry turning up.
Your boy Gendry's back.
He finished his row around the world.
I did like that they
That was a
referenced
good
that
Yeah,
in the
they had to be like when
writing.
they were
It's
writing.
like, "You finished right.
The
You
internet's
tried."
gone nuts about this. Okay, we
Yeah.
need to reference that. But it turns out he's been hiding under the Queen's nose this whole time.
Great show.
Great show
show,
about
Queen's
a
nose.
magic 50p.
Rubber
No one's
50p
going to
coin.
get that reference
Unless you're British.
unless you're British. That's went Sean Connery then. So Gendry turning up is quite important because who better to forge this dragon glass into weapons than one of the best smiths that we've seen across 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Is it just me or do they grease him up slightly?
He's a sweaty man. He's hanging out by the forge, smacking stuff with a hammer.
And a kiln all day.
Speaking of hammers, he's got
My
a massive
guy.
one.
Wow.
And he's also forged a warhammer.
Penis joke there, guys.
Oh, I'm sad.
Bloody brave. I don't know if it's brave or stupid that he's got a warhammer knocking around in his shop that he makes Lannister weapons from that has the Baratheon sigil.
Yeah. He seems to be quite open with his lineage, even when told, do not tell anyone.
Shut up about your lineage, mate.
Immediately just starts
Don't tell anyone.
Some
blabbing
Lannister
out.
sergeant is like, is that a stag on that hammer? Nah, it's upside down lightning bolt, mate. Don't worry about that.
No.
Work in progress line.
But like father, like son, he's now wielding a warhammer. Robert Baratheon obviously caving in Rhaegar's chest at the Battle of the Trident with a warhammer. We get to see the warhammer in use against some gold cloaks.
Great
now,
seeing this.
you might have noticed, you might have recognized or felt like you've seen the gold cloak on the right before. It's because
We were going mad.
I was like, my first thought was like, yeah, I've seen him in like a different show, and I realized, oh, he's in Hot Fuzz. He's he's that really dull cop.
Yeah.
No, he's actually been in Game of Thrones. He was the minstrel in the traveling theatre that Arya stumbles across in Bravos. He was playing the actor that was playing Ned Stark.
That's so meta.
Yeah.
So meta. And now he's in King's Landing as a gold cloak. That's quite a change in location.
Listen, acting
and
is
career.
a very
Yeah.
turbulent job. It's not very stable. Maybe
It's
he
the,
just needed the coin.
His
Yeah.
Actors Guild wasn't putting him top billing at the top first of his episode, so he was like, screw this, I'm going to become a gold cloak. And we get some amazing crab Viagra banter from Davos. I didn't know that,
Crab bants.
fermented crab did that, but
The bit where he talks about moving along quickly before his armor.
going to get a hole in the chainmail.
Great work
Slutty.
there. Davos is
And-
filthy.
They would have got to use the 15 gold dragons each. They would have got to use their fermented crab, except Tyrion chose the worst time to turn up.
But the thing is, like, Tyrion saw them there, and he
like-
sort of, like, it was the most awkward little shuffle I've ever
Yeah.
seen. And he was like, he could have, like,
Give him a
just
little wave.
walked back up the hill or something and hid. But
Yeah.
no, he was just like, I'm just going to walk past and hopefully they won't say anything.
They said something.
Yeah.
They recognised, and they got Gendry's warhammer in the brain.
Which is good, because Gendry's always like, I'm not a good fighter, I'm not a good fighter.
He's good with a hammer, though.
He's good with a hammer.
He's
Proof
good with that hammer.
that Warhammer is bad for you.
Big scene at Dragonstone between Jon and Drogon. So, if you remember that Daenerys went into the House of the Undying and had that, like, magically induced vision, in the books at least, when she sees her brother Rhaegar says the dragon has 3 heads. Now, obviously you know that the Targaryen sigil is, where is it? A dragon with 3 heads. But also it kind of lends itself to the fact that Daenerys has 3 dragons, and you would assume that each dragon would need a rider. Obviously the Targaryens are very close with the dragons. It's kind of like
Tamagotchi.
tied to their bloodline pretty much. But when they used to ride dragons and tame them, all of that knowledge on how to tame dragons, how to train your dragon, has
Just
been
watch
lost.
the DreamWorks movie, you'll learn.
Or
How
the
to Tame a
sequel
Dragon, yeah.
has been lost because obviously there weren't any dragons around for a couple hundred years. So the fact that Drogon and Jon had this nice little moment
to know what love is.
maybe kind of lends itself to the fact that Jon will be riding one of Daenerys' dragons. But also in this episode, what got name dropped is the fact that Jon is a legit Targaryen. He's no longer a bastard, and I think that Drogon obviously smelled the Targaryen blood in him. There's some kind of sorcery in that bloodline that ties them and the dragons together.
It's about time, because Drogon gets far too much play. Those other two just no
dossing about
action
the castle.
whatsoever. They get
bored.
no love.
But also we know that Tyrion had that moment in season 6 when he went down to see Viserion and Rhaegal, and they seemed a little less sure of him. But there's always been that thing that Tywin's always sort of said, like, oh, you're no son of mine. And there's this theory that maybe the Mad King actually raped Joanna Lannister, and he could actually be another bastard. He could be a bastard Targaryen. Maybe. I don't know about that one. But Jon is a Targaryen, and I think it's very likely, and that scene has definitely spelled it out that he's going to be riding one of those dragons.
Drogon, he's spoken for.
Drogon is spoken for.
Although Drogon was like,
Hey, friend. But there was a lot of sexual tension in that.
Between Drogon and Jon.
No, at Dragonstone, you know, when they were saying goodbye and Daenerys and Jon.
The lingering
were like,
looks.
The lingering gazes. And then he was like, I'm King of the North, I'm going back there. And she's like, oh, I've gotten quite used to having him around. You know, but it's kind of weird because we are all rooting for him and her to get together, even though
I'm
they
not.
are.
Were we?
Gross.
I want him to get freaky with Drogon.
Also gross.
Also weird. But speaking of Gendry, we just talked about Gendry meeting Jon was such a nice little parallel between the way that Ned and Robert were friends. So even though they're, well, not really Jon's dad, but grown up, like, brought up to believe he was his
Adopted
dad.
father.
Like, the way that they would joke at each other. So there was that time that Ned said to Robert, oh, you've gotten a bit fat, eh? And the way that Gendry's like, you're a bit short, aren't you? It's like this nice role reversal as well. And I really, really appreciated that.
Bastard Bants.
Bastard Bants. Also, I really loved that Davos was like, okay, your name is Clovis. I've given you this backstory. Don't say anything. He walks up, he's like, hey, my name's Gendry. We're kind of like, we should be friends.
Leroy Jenkins.
Look at my hammer. It's got my dad's sigil on it.
So obviously now everyone's kind of in the right place where they need to be. But the main big thing that happened at Dragonstone was this zombie plan. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a weird logic to it. Like, it does make sense, but at the same time, I can see some flaws.
Yeah.
So what they're going to do is they're going to nip north of the wall, capture a wight,
Nip
north of the wall, bring it south to show Cersei that threat is real, and together they're going to have an armistice, and all the combined armies are going to take on the north, which is the real threat. Sounds fine. I can see some flaws.
It's a bad plan.
Well,
like,
first of
you
all-
have to go up against the entire undead army just to get one.
Yeah, but also it's like Cersei not believing in the dead coming back to life, right? Her bodyguard is literally a dead man that they've brought back to life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, flaw one. There's also, you know, it's a bit Eagles in Lord of the Rings. So you know how there was actually a reason that Tolkien said that the Eagles didn't just take Frodo or Gandalf to Mount Doom and drop the ring in.
Because Eagles are lazy.
Stamina,
Eagles are pretty
not
lazy.
very good.
Stamina. But, like, she has 3 dragons and she's only really using 1. Why can't Jon or even her just, pop on the back of a dragon, fly up there, pick up a wight and fly back? I mean, actually, I did look at our YouTube comments for this and someone said, unless the white walking giant beats the dragon to the ground and then someone kills it and then you've got a nice ice dragon that maybe the Night King can bring back to life.
She doesn't know that's possible, though.
I don't know, if Jon's been telling her that he can reanimate the dead, it maybe stands to reason that she could believe that her dragon.
I mean, she hasn't surfaced any of that information. She seems
Maybe that dragon has got no
oblivious
stamina.
to
Maybe. But also, yeah, she's got 3 of them. She's not really using them to a
put
full
them
potential.
boys to use.
Anyway. Also, with the amount of dead people in the army, it's going to be difficult just to nip to the fringe of it.
Grab one.
They have to get like a
Grab
scout
one.
or something.
Yeah, pretty much. So, what I think is going to happen is I think that Jorah Mormont is going to be that wight. So, if you go through this episode, Eastwatch, so when he and Daenerys get reunited, for example, it's like, I don't know, he immediately is like, I've done all this for you, my queen, I'll do everything for you. And when this plan kind of comes out, he immediately goes full, I will take the ring to Mordor. I'll do it for you. But in a way that it is kind of like a self-sacrificing kind of way. And also when he says bye to Daenerys and she like takes him by the hand and she's like, we should be better at saying farewell by now. That was quite a poignant goodbye. I felt like it was, even after all the stuff he's done, it's obvious that they still care a lot for each other, but it just felt way more poignant than just, all right, I'll see you next time. But also, the other thing is when he's talking to Tyrion. And so when him and Tyrion were together and they were sold as slaves, and they got given a gold coin by the slaver, and that coin was supposed to last until the end of their lives, pretty much. And then Tyrion gives it to Jorah, and he's like, bring it back. That, to me, kind of seems like Jorah's gonna bring it back, but he's not gonna be alive anymore. I think they're gonna bring him back as a wight. Which will be sad.
Yeah.
Which will be sad because I think, poor Jorah. We take
He
the piss
just
out of him.
survived
but
his last ailment.
Love you, Jorah.
we love you, Jorah. But if this zombie plan also does work, there's a hint, there's a hope, a little glint on the distance that Clegane Bowl might happen.
Oh, dang.
Because we know that the Hound is part of the little scouting party. And if they do manage to capture a wight, be it Jorah Mormont or whoever, and bring him back down south, it's going to put the Clegane brothers at least in the same room as each other.
Yeah.
It's in the same postcode.
Also, if Cersei, even after all of this, doesn't believe that the White Walkers and the dead are a real threat, maybe she'll probably go, just kill him. A hound will step in to save him. Him and the mountain will fight. It'll be nice. One of them will get closure at least.
It's going to be nice.
Well, it will be for me because I've been waiting for this for years.
Clegane Bowl's back on the menu, boys.
Mock up the posters. All right, at Winterfell, we've got our boy Bran doing his three-eyed raven tricks, and he's warged into some crows. Crows or ravens? Crows, right?
No, yeah, crows. You don't trust a crow.
Yeah. Crows just flying over, and they see, yes, those undead folks are still at it.
They've been quiet for a bit.
Yeah, they're like slow shuffle. Like, they're not power walking yet. They'll build themselves up to a power walk. It's quite chilly. So, like, he realizes, yep, those guys are still at it, and he begins to unite everyone by sending messages out to the various parties within Westeros to say, like, guys, those guys...
Zombies coming.
Zombies be coming, so buck up. But in Winterfell, we've got some political scheming happening. Littlefinger has unleaned to do some work. I mean, he gets back to a lean.
Oh, once he's comfortable,
Once he's done, he's like leans back again. But here we have basically the various northern leaders are very the lords are very upset that the king in the north is not in the north, and the Knights of the Vale only answered the call because of Sansa. So there's some unrest in the north right now, and Sansa's there, and she's like, Jon's doing his best to give him a shot. He'll be back. And Arya is watching this and like, is that how you defend your brother?
Needs a buck up.
Yeah, there's a look between them that's like very awkward and very like something's wrong here. And
I also love the fact that because those two are best friends in real life, imagine how much fun that scene would have been for them to film.
So then basically it's casting kind of like, it's asking the audience to start questioning whether Arya believes in Sansa anymore, and whether kind of like her faith in Jon, Sansa's faith in Jon, is starting to erode away because she sees an opportunity to grab some power. And this opportunity, of course, is something that our boy Littlefinger seizes upon. So if you cast your mind back to episode 3, someone mentions that Lewin has got a good copy record of all the ravens that were ever sent to Winterfell.
It's good.
And,
good general office administration.
Good administration. And Littlefinger, when that happens, is like, So he's like, oh, I see, interesting. So he knows that there's copies of every message ever sent to Winterfell, and he immediately gets to work scheming. So Arya's watching the entire time. He's chatting to various the upset houses, the lords, and then he's meeting with a maester who gives him a message, and then very loudly he goes, Lady Stark thanks you for your service. Just anyone else hear that? Yeah, no. Arya, of course, sneaking around, hears that. So the message, Arya eventually finds it, and it's actually the one that was sent to Robb Stark by Sansa in season 1. So that was the message that she was forced to write. And the message, which we'll put up on screen, effectively is telling Robb Stark, who was at the time getting ready to lay siege.
King in the North.
King in the North, yeah. And it was telling him that Robert Baratheon has died from his wounds while out on a hunt. A hunt? All right, it was emotional. He died.
It was sad.
Not how he should have gone out, all right? So he's dead.
Yeah.
And then Ned Stark, their father, conspired with Robert's brothers to try and usurp Joffrey and take the throne. Yeah. And because of that, he's been killed. And Sansa's basically pleading with him to just come to King's Landing and bend the knee so they can, squash the beef, is what she's trying to say. And obviously Arya sees this. Arya was there when Ned was killed, and she knows that it was out of pure malice and not anything else. She knows her father was innocent. And obviously Littlefinger knows that this is true as well, because he was in the room when that message was written. In fact, he was one of the people that suggested it so that Sansa could prove her allegiances to the Lannisters. So he finds that message, it's the only copy of that message, and puts it in a place where Arya can find it. Arya finds it and is now like, that bitch is scheming.
But even the hole in the mattress, she really didn't think that was a plan. Come on, girl. Littlefinger's not that dumb.
And for someone, it might be a sign that she's getting a bit too big for her boots. Like she's picked up
does
some
seem very
slick
cocky.
moves, but like she's not that smart. She's got the moves, but not there yet. Not there yet at all. So so we know the reason. The reason's pretty obvious, but I thought it was interesting that DB Weiss, after the episode aired, discussed what was happening there, and he said that Arya gets roped into spying on somebody who's actually leading her by the nose. That's our boy Littlefinger. He's looking for a way to prevent this sister bond from developing further, because the tighter they are, the more definitively he is caught on the outside of it. So basically, this is him making a play for not being cut out, because we've seen Sansa being like, yeah, I know he's a bit of a shithead, but we need him right now, essentially. And he knows that if she aligns herself with Arya and they become tight, together they can get rid of him. Alone she can't, but together that could be a problem, which is why he's starting to scheme now. And towards the end of that scene, we see the kind of tensions boil over when Arya and Sansa meet, and she's like, you always liked nice things, you're in, mum and dad's bedroom, and then she starts to imply that she knows that Sansa's trying to take the title of, warden or become queen in the north almost. Things end very awkwardly between the two sisters. Someone gonna get poked with something sharp.
Our sisters fight, it'll be fine.
Yeah, that's right.
So in Old Town, Sam he's had enough. He's reached breaking point.
Too much soup, poop.
Too much soup, too much poop. We see him enter the meeting room of all these old men. All these old men that have the power to make a difference. They've got the message that Bran sent, and they're obviously not taking it seriously. Men of science and all that. Just dismissing a crippled boy who was lost north of the wall. And Sam's like, listen, mate, that crippled boy's Brandon Stark. I've been north of the wall. I've seen all this stuff.
I seen it.
What are you doing? Like, you don't know what you're talking about. He tries to put him in his place. He mentions the Maesters are mentioning all the other old stories that they don't believe. Another one being the drowned god.
So yeah, this is actually really quite interesting. So the drowned god is the god that the Ironborn follow. And Yara at one point says, since the Dawn Age, the Ironborn have followed the drowned god who plucked fire from the sea and made us reeve and sack and carve our names into blood and song. But the whole thing is basically like the drowned god almost drowned, came back to life, but he plucked fire from the sea, which is quite interesting because it reinforces the theory that Jaime could be Azor Ahai, that this fire from the sea could be Lightbringer, which could be used in the battle, in the long night that's coming up. But also what's interesting is that the Azor Ahai prophecy needs some kind of rebirth, and Jaime hasn't really had that. I mean, you could say that he was reborn as like from the old Jaime, the really like arrogant, dickish Jaime, to this new sort of half-redeemed Jaime, but this kind of sinking and like almost drowning could all play into that, which could be quite interesting to see if that actually comes together.
But obviously the Maesters don't know that.
No, absolutely not.
They kind of just dismiss Sam. Sam's like, all right, peace. I'm out. Goes home, goes hang out at Gilly. Now you'll be forgiven for missing what might be one of the most important lines in all of Game of Thrones.
Poor Gilly.
Because Sam certainly misses it. He's in a world of his own. And Gilly, she's learned to read, and one of the first things she does is stumble across this gem. So she's reading through High Septon Maynard's records, who was famous for recording everything. And one of the things she notes, one of his recordings says that he issued an annulment for a prince named, she mispronounced it, but it's Prince Rhaegar, and remarried him to someone else at the time in a secret ceremony in Dawn. So if that's obviously Lyanna. Which
R
then
plus L equals?
R plus L equals
that
J.
makes Jon a legitimate Targaryen.
Yes.
Because he was not born out of wedlock, it turns. Secret ceremony in Dawn. The Tower of Joy is on the border of Dawn. It's I wrote it down here, on the northern edge of the Red Mountains of Dawn. And it makes sense that Rhaegar had to go fight against Robert's rebellion, so the marriage needs to happen quickly, which obviously means this is why she was still knocking about Dawn. Yeah. So if all this is true, it makes Jon's claim to the throne actually more powerful than Daenerys's. In Targaryen and Westerosi culture, the man always has a stronger claim to the throne. It means he is actually a true Targaryen. We mentioned before when
and also it's that line of succession because he's Rhaegar's son, whereas she's just his brother. And
so he needs to ditch that snow name at some point. Well, obviously, he doesn't know that. No one else knows this. I don't think Gilly really knows either.
Gilly's just like, check me reading out.
But like,
She knows how many steps are in the
Yeah.
citadel.
she does know how many steps are in the citadel.
15,782.
But if anything happens to them, now they're leaving to go find Jon again with nothing but a cart full of stolen scrolls.
Big baby.
A baby that grows way too
A
fast.
baby with incredible comedic timing.
and some exceptional information.
Yeah.
Gilly, I don't know how they're going to portray that because Gilly doesn't know what she's read.
And Sam
Yeah.
wasn't listening.
And Sam wasn't listening. But if they have the book, then they're okay.
Baby Sam's gonna grow up, and
That's going to be his first
his
word.
first word's gonna be like
Jon Targaryen.
Jon Targaryen. What? Page 74. That scroll.
Just underneath the bowel movements.
Oh my god, he's going to confirm R plus L equals J.
Yes.
There were a lot of reunions in this week's episode, and at the end, we had these 7 guys who are going to go north of the wall to kidnap a wight and bring it back down south.
They're called the Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad, the Magnificent Seven. But what's interesting is when they had that little reunion in the cellars at Eastwatch, you kind of felt like there was a thing going on between Jorah Mormont and Thoros of Mire.
Maya.
I say Maya, but people keep
Thoros
calling
of
me
Myr.
that.
Oscar Mayer Wiener.
But anyway, so you might not be aware of how they know each other. But what's quite interesting is that years before he went over to Essos and all that stuff, Jorah Mormont was a very skilled fighter. And about 10 years or so before the events of Game of Thrones, Balon Greyjoy rebelled against the Iron Throne. And so Robert obviously laid siege to Pike because he could not be having this. And when they got there, first through the door to the Ironborn stronghold was Jorah Mormont. Or at least that's what people thought. It was actually Thoros. They fought together, but Jorah ended up getting this knighthood. He does tell he tells Barristan the Bold about this because he's like, oh yeah, and Thoros was there and he had this great big flaming sword. And what's also cool about it is that Jorah, because he got the knighthood, he was a northerner and he believes in the old gods, whereas the knighthood stuff, that is a ceremony that involves a septon, it involves the new gods. So it was quite rare for northerners to get knighthoods at the time, which is why it was so special. And from there, that's why Jorah kind of increased in fame and became the big famous knight he was before he got involved with trafficking and human slavery. And Gendry obviously mentions it, but the last time he and Thoros and Beric were in the same place, they sort of sold him to Melisandre for a bunch of gold so that she could kill him and get his king's blood.
Seduce him and then kill him.
She had a list of stuff that she wanted to
Shadow
get done with
baby
him.
nonsense stuff.
So, no love lost there, really. But the whole plan is they're going to go to the north, but there's 7 of them. And now the number 7 has, I feel like Jim Carrey in the number 23 here. It's like, there's a 7 here and here. But the number 7 has a lot of references and meaning in Game of Thrones. So obviously there's the 7 kingdoms. There is the 7-faced god, the many-faced god. There's the faith of the 7. And also that symbol that kept popping up in last week's episode in Dragonstone, the caves that the Children of the Forest did, was that spiral that had 7 points on it. So that's definitely worth kind of realizing that this was all supposed to happen.
Destiny.
Destiny! But the episode leaves us on an incredible kind of cliffhanger. The 7 in mighty duck formation going north of the wall to try and kidnap some wights. And I feel like not all of them are going to make it back.
I wanted to hear Carry On My Wayward Son playing as they walked off into the thing.
We can make that happen.
Will
the Hound make it,
though?
I think the Hound will make it. I think Beric's going to cop it because he's just sort of like dying and getting rebirthed and he doesn't know what his true purpose is. Jorah is probably going to be the sacrifice. Gendry, I hope, makes it, but he seems a bit disposable at this point.
I think Gendry's going to whoop some ass out there and people are going to be like, damn, look at
Where's
this
he
guy.
been?
Look at this guy, he's insane. And I think Jon will be fine. I just
Jon
want
will
to.
be fine.
Oh, the only person I care about is Tormund. Bring Tormund. A great line from him. He was like,
The big woman.
I want him,
No.
him to come back and he'll be fine and him
We
and
brought
Brienne.
there's the guy that the big lady nearly killed, but that's about it.
All right, now's the time in the show where we're going to talk about the preview for the next episode, which is episode 6. If you kind of want to go into that fresh, then turn away now. But if you want to come and theorize with us, then keep watching.
Right, so the preview for the next episode opens with the Suicide Squad venturing north of the wall to meet the undead. And we get some really interesting VO from Beric Dondarrion, who says, "Death is the enemy, the first enemy and the last." So speaking to that undead, the ever-present threat of the undead, and then he waffles on a bit more, and then eventually comes to the enemy always wins, which is, and we still need to fight him, which is kind of like, we keep killing these dudes and they keep coming back. And the reason that we bring that up is because earlier Sam, in this episode that we just watched, Sam was talking about maybe someone could find a permanent solution to this. So there's kind of like, maybe gonna kill them all off with some finality, which would be nice. In Dragonstone, Tyrion and Dany seem to be having a moment of tension, which could follow on from the discussion that Varys was having with Tyrion, who was like, Varys was telling Tyrion to, you need to sort her out and get her, under control before she starts wiling out like crazy. And Tyrion was like, "Oh, try." So maybe this is a kind of like that result of that try. In Winterfell, we hear Arya's voiceover. She says, "You're scared, aren't you?" As Sansa seems to be kind of like, it's difficult to tell whether she's just closing a door normally and they've just cut it in a way that looks weird, or if she looks like she's kind of scared and is kind of running away.
But it could also be that like it's just that bit of VO over a completely different.
Yeah.
So it could be towards like Littlefinger, because Arya is more aware than Sansa that Littlefinger.
I think that's the likelihood. Arya is talking to Littlefinger, having discovered what he's up to. Of course, then we have the big battle, which is definitely going to be the centerpiece of the next episode. We see Gendry swinging that warhammer at an undead and demolishing it. What a guy. They look very, very outnumbered, which is what we were talking about. It's going to be tricky for them to just peel one of those, White Walkers off and just run away with them. By the time in this preview, they're fully enveloped by all the forces.
You know what they could do, though? Mulan strats. Get a firework, set off an avalanche, done.
You know what they could do? Be saved by a dragon.
Yep. So we'll get to that. So then we see the 7 warriors running back, presumably away from a bunch of undead. And we can't really tell whether they've succeeded or failed. There's no one's like holding a white walker above them, like, run. It just looks like they're shitting bricks and they're just running it. Yeah. So we see Arya and Sansa coming face to face. There's going to be the kind of culmination of some of that tension, and then a big moment. Beric's sword catching fire.
It's lit.
It's lit 100%. Of course, we have the prophecy. There's a lot of contenders for Azor Ahai right now, but Lightbringer and the prophecy does say that the chosen one shall wield the sword against the enemy, and the one who clasps it shall be Azor Ahai. Beric is shown holding it.
Maybe he's just like a placeholder.
It doesn't specifically say one person clasps it. He could die. And someone else could pick it up.
To die, yeah.
Jon could pick it up.
He has been looking for his purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe his purpose is
to deliver the sword.
Steel sword, though. So
dual wield, fam.
Gendry picks it up. She's like, Warhammer, sword on fire. Let's do this, lads. So we have that, and then it ends with the guys again running away from stuff, which is cool. And then it cuts to the Night King with the phrase "Winter is here." Interestingly, no Dany involved in this one. Which I think could be a way of just throwing us off the track for when she eventually appears with a dragon and it's like...
She's the Rohirrim.
Yeah, yeah.
Dawn on the 5th day, look to the east. There's 3 dragons.
I think the farewell she had with Jon and Jorah is enough to kind of put the seed down. That maybe she's thinking, I got to save my boys. Yeah. I can't let this happen. And just comes in with a dragon, swoops in and sets everyone on fire. So that's next episode.
Everyone's going to be on fire.
Everyone going to be on fire.
It's lit.
Thanks for watching this week's episode, everyone. Make sure to leave your fan theories and comments in the box below. Come find us on Twitter. I'm at Lucy James Games.
I'm at Irregular Dave.
I'm at Tamoor H.
Or use the hashtag GSOT. And as I mentioned in the intro, we're running a competition to win this Jon Snow Funko Pop. So make sure you're subscribed to the GameSpot Universe YouTube channel and hit the link in the description box below to enter. It's just for the US at the moment, but we're hopefully going to be opening these competitions out further to places like Europe
and Westeros.
And Westeros and Essos. Next week's episode is going to be an absolute banger. The set is going to look a little different because we're going to be in Germany for Gamescom.
It's Gamescom.
It's Gamescom. Celebrates the games. We'll be celebrating the Game of Thrones.
Yes, mate.
But make sure you join us then because it's going to be the big battle and it's going to be lit.
Banger.
Banger. See you then.
Rest in peace, Dickon. Godspeed.